Hi there. Welcome to Far North Coast Rugby Wrap. Today I've got Graham Cook with me.
How are we, folks?
And we're going to talk about the games first, I believe. So, match of the round, I'd say, which you're doing, Graham, in your 400th first grade game. And congratulations from myself, as well as the board of Far North Coast Rugby. Great servant to the game. All right, Casuarina Beach at home. How do you think this one will go, Graham?
Yeah, I mean, Casuarina Byron Shire Rebels it's clearly the match of the round this week. Two of the top teams in second and third place. Has a huge ramification for both teams. If Byron Shire Rebels can win it, they get the opportunity to close that gap on Wallingborough Alstonville and potentially become number one minor premiers. If Casuarina win it, then they've closed the gap on the Byron Shire Rebels, and it's fighters on until the end of the competition rounds for the number 2 spot, potentially the number 1 spot. So, yeah, a huge game for both teams.
I totally agree there. It's and I think Casuarina have got the side this weekend that they've named to push them all the way.
Yeah, you look at some of the players they got, like Sam Harrison at number 10, an outstanding player for many years, will lead them around the park. They'd have to have a great opportunity to win this match, playing at home with him steering the rudder. Yeah,
with Big Mitch planting back, he's as well in the second row. I think he's a big, strong guy. He's a very good footballer.
You also look at their number 15, Joey Davis.
Kai George.
Kai George, he's an outstanding player. Has done some very, very good things this year. So they'll be looking to, I would think, muscle up through the forwards and then do the hard yards there and then spin it wide and use their pace in the backs.
Yeah. Well, Byron Shire aren't too weak in the backs there for Campbell Harvey, who's speedster out there, and so it's going to be well matched, I think, in the backs. But the forwards, we've got Darcy Hilton back there as well.
Yeah, you'd imagine Byron Shire Rebels will be looking to lay a platform in the forwards, particularly with their scrum. And their line-out, their set piece has been very good against every team this year. So I would think they'd be looking to at least get parity, if not dominate in that area. And then after that, their 5/8 inside centre and winger are all very, very good players with pace to burn, skills to burn. And if they get an opportunity, it's going to be very hard for the Casuarina Beach to hold them out.
Yeah, as long as they don't think it's the game they played last week. Go there.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, their games last week with Casuarina playing away at Casino, and possibly going there thinking they would win this quite easily, and then really only just getting over the line. Casino really put it to them, so they had a good hard match. Whereas on the other hand, Byron Shire Rebels playing at home to Ballina and winning it very, very easily in a one-sided affair, that would not have been good preparation for this weekend.
No, and they would have been very cranky over the last few weeks with a couple of forfeits. And
they've been extremely unlucky with teams being unable to field against them due to injuries and illness. So their preparation for Byron Shire Rebels has not been ideal in any way, shape or form.
I don't think so either. I totally agree there. So if they take Casuarina lightly, they'll be in for a big surprise there, I think. Anyway, but then we've got another interesting match. Lismore at home to Casino.
Lismore and Casino, for different reasons, is almost the match of the round. Because they might not be this year going to win the comp, but they are very evenly matched. They've played some very good football in patches, and if they can just control the ball and get that go forward, both teams have got players that can really damage you. But fitness will probably be a key for both teams.
Yeah, I agree.
Taking opportunities will be paramount. And unfortunately for both teams at times, their discipline. If they can not give away needless penalties and therefore territory, therefore give the opposition an opportunity, that's a really interesting match. I happened to do them a few weeks back over at Casino. And it was an incredible match. It was great fun to referee. Both teams played some great rugby. So, yeah, that will be very enjoyable. And, of course, this week for both teams, they have a new referee, a referee up from Sydney. Yeah. So they won't know what to expect from him. He won't know what to expect from them.
No.
And it'll be just, play your best and see how you go.
Yes, well, in that regard, we've got 2 referees up here.
We do.
That's Zach Martin doing the one there in Lismore, and Chris Mulcahy doing the one down at Keys Reserve, Ballina versus Wallingbar.
Yeah,
so they've got no perceived, what's going to happen or do anything unless they've been talking to somebody.
To anybody to suggest they're biased towards any club would be an interesting comment.
Yes, it certainly would.
So it'll be great experience for both of those referees and also for the clubs involved. It's always nice to have a referee from outside your area that's new, fresh, and everybody tends to play a lot better, and it's a much better game than it might be otherwise.
Yeah.
But going back to the Lismore Casino game, you look at Lismore up front, and they've got the man that's been there, done that for many, many years in Gavin Tulk. I think he's the leading try scorer in the club. He's just, putting it in, week out. And, of course, he's got his son, Dylan, playing in the second row. So a father-son combination is always nice to see.
Yeah. The trouble there I see for is the back couple there from Casino. Hakeem Torrens he's electric, and so's the fullback. I believe he played for Lismore last year.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
It's interesting whenever you watch any of the Casino games. If they get a little bit of space, they've got the back line that can just tear you apart,
yes.
and you don't even see them coming.
No.
That not giving aimless kicks, for example. Yeah. If they're going to kick downfield Lismore, they need to get it out or at least have a good kick chase so they can put them into a corner. If they just kick it aimlessly downfield, Casino will look to counter-attack, and they certainly have the skills and the pace to do damage.
Yeah, they just made a few mistakes in that Ballina game, threw a couple of forward passes, and they should have won that game against Ballina in the earlier rounds. But just throwing 2 or 3 blatant forward passes in that game that fell away from them. So they should be higher on the table, but they can still, the way things go, you never know. They could still make the 4, Casino.
Casino's still got it in their hands. If they win their matches and other matches go the way they'd like, they have every opportunity of making the 4.
Yeah, for sure.
And certainly I would still be aiming for it if I was in that club.
Yeah, I'd be really good. And Doug Murray, I think he's got him going all right at the moment.
I never say die, Coach.
No.
From the old days where you just you front up, you do your best, and then enjoy the club camaraderie after that.
That for sure. Which moves us on down to Keys Reserve.
Yeah, Ballina versus Wallingbar Olsenville. There have been some incredible matches between those 2 clubs over the years.
They certainly has. Ballina going for a bit of a tough patch at the moment. They've named enough players for two grades this week.
That's good to hear.
So it'll be an interesting match down there. They've got Old Boys Day, and Graham Stool invited me down there, so I best go down, I should imagine.
They won't be lacking for motivation at home, Old Boys Day.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of banter down there for sure.
They've just had a difficult year. They haven't had the numbers of players, haven't had a great roll-up at training week in, week out. They're going through a difficult patch, which all clubs go through.
Yep.
This year it's their turn.
Yep.
But Wallingbar Olsenville, on the other hand, they have a very well-organised club. They have players wanting to play for them. They have large amount of players turning up to training week in, week out. They are the benchmark club-wise on the far north coast. They might necessarily be leading the comp in each grade, but the way they run the club is very impressive, and their performances on the field generally back that up.
They certainly do. The team that Wallingbar's name's quite interesting. I see the coach Billy is resting himself.
It's always good when you're the coach of a team and you can just say, I might have this weekend off.
Yeah, but with Lloyd Morgan going into the hooker, they've named a very strong side there. That is a very long
they've got some old heads that have been there, done that a bit.
Yep.
And you look at no further than Chief Matt Scott in the second row. If you need a leader in a forward pack, he's certainly one of the people you'd go to.
Yep.
And then you go to that halfback 5'8" combination, very very impressive, and Louis Holman and Ben Damon. And then the pace out wide is a little scary in the Brodie Smith, James Vidler, and Sam Carey. That's probably the envy of any club in country rugby, to be honest. Yeah. Very, very impressive. If they get front foot ball, watch out.
And the two centres, Rory and Daniel Damon, they've been playing out of their skin. I think Rory. What?
Have they got nothing?
Oh yeah, I think Rory, and he's only young. He's had that medical stuff there for the last couple of years. That's why he hasn't played. And he's come back this year, and he's having a barnstorming year. I think he's going really well. And Ballina, they've got a few blokes back. Wilson, he's been missing for a couple of weeks. Wilson Lovacaro, I think he's leading the best and fairest in first grade.
He's certainly been impressive in the matches I've done with Ballina.
Yes, no. And young Kai Cribb and Stephen Paskins, they've both performed very well. But there's an old head there at number 3, Isaac Pratton. He hasn't been there for a few years.
What's he doing playing again?
Must have got roped in for Old Boys Day, I would certainly think. But
that will be an interesting tussle in the scrums in particular, with Stanley here on the other side of the scrum for Ballina. Yeah. Though they aren't going to want to be taking a backward step, I wouldn't think. So there might be a little bit of a chat with the fellow front rowers in the opposition, I would think. And it'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. I'll certainly be looking to watch that on the video later in the day that night.
Well, Benny Robinson's back. And Nick Bryden, I thought he was out for the year. They had said he's injured and wasn't playing again this year, but they've named him at 10. Benny Robinson hasn't played this year, I don't think. And they've got Tupu Lolohea and Ruben Sarek. They've been going all right in the setters. And Corey Sargent, the New Zealand that they brought over.
Probably been one of the best 15s in the zone this year. It's been quite impressive. Behind a pack that hasn't always been able to dominate and get front foot ball, he's cleaned up a lot of stuff at the back and played very, very well.
Yeah, so it'll be a tougher match. Both Wallingbar and Byron are coming off fairly big wins, so they've got to focus again, and because anything can happen. Ballina upset them in the first round this year.
They did.
On the death when Nick Bryden kicked the penalty goal and knocked them off. And, mate, it did them a world of good, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Ballina would have to therefore go into this with a bit of self-belief that we can come back at home. And if we hang in there, we've got every opportunity of winning this one as well.
Yep.
And Wallingbar, as you say, they mentally will need to be switched on to a tough game. Otherwise, they could walk into a trap here.
Yep, I agree.
It's interesting, though, you go out of first grade and even look at our President's Cup competition this weekend, and we have the top two teams playing each other, and Yamba at home to Richmond Range. From all reports, Yamba has been the team to beat. I think both teams have only got one loss this year. With the visiting Sydney referees coming up, they've got a first grade referee this weekend, so it shows how important it is.
Down there,
Matt Clayton's refereeing it, so a very good referee. Two very good teams, and look, that would be, I would think Yamba's going to have a huge crowd, and it'll be a really humdinger of a match. I'm, to be honest, not really sure who'll win that one.
No, it all depends if all the Walker boys turn up in the front row.
Yamba at times can have a full bench and players left over, and then at other times be almost struggling to make the
15,
team.
Yes.
Range, on the other hand, sort of week in, week out, they might have different players, but they have consistently had a full bench, have been very strong. Even in the match they lost, they were a strong team.
Yep.
So, but you talk to any of the President's Cup clubs, and they're going, Rage, you're good, but watch out for Yamba. They're also a very good team. So that's a hang of a match for supposedly a President's Cup grade. They are two very good teams that I think could easily play in first grade.
Yep. I totally agree.
I mean, you look at the other grades in second grade. We happen to have two of the top teams playing each other as well, in Cassarina and Byronshire Rebels. Yes. I think Byronshire Rebels are number 1 and Cassarina are number 2 in second grade.
Yep.
So again, it's a huge match for both clubs. I think they've got Peter Campbell, a very experienced referee, so that's very good for both clubs. They have a good referee. Casuarina at home. Byron, I think, are unbeaten or have certainly not lost much this year. Casuarina have been consistently very good, so that will be a really, really good match in second grade as well.
Yeah, some good reserve grade games going on this weekend, that's for sure. So all right, and now we sort of move on into the women's competition.
Yeah, two matches again this weekend,
yep.
Which is great to see.
Casuarina home to Byron Shire Rebels.
Yeah, I mean, that's great that those clubs are playing each other in three different grades.
Grades.
First, seconds, and women's.
Yep.
And that women's game, I think, will probably be a very good match, actually. Casuarina at the moment are certainly the benchmark in the women's competition.
Yeah, and with Lismore.
With Lismore, yeah. Whenever they play each other, it's like, okay, who's going to win this one? Very impressive. But Byron, they've fronted up a few times. If they can get a decent-sized squad there, I think they'll go quite well.
Yeah, no, you'd favour Casuarina up at home.
Have to favour Casuarina at home. Hopefully they can both get full squads, 12 players.
Yep.
And then it'll be a very interesting match. If either club is a little bit short, that will hinder the game itself. But hopefully it'll be a full game.
Yeah. And then we've got Evans head home to Lismore.
Yeah, they've played each other recently.
Yeah, last week. It's a weird draw, but it's just the way it works out to try and keep clubs together. Evans Head have got 3 games at home, so they've got Colts as well.
That's fantastic.
They've got Colts against Lennox. They've got Lennox in President's Cup and Lismore in the women's. So, and the women's the first game at 12:30. They've changed the times, and the Colts are at 1:30, and the girls want to go off somewhere. So they've both agreed, both clubs contacted me, fixed it
really
all.
Good the clubs are working together like
that's
that.
Right.
And fantastic that Evans has got 3 teams at home. Way to promote the code, promote the club. I would think the whole town will turn out for them, which will be fantastic.
Yeah, they're playing at the school this weekend because I believe the Bombers are on there on Saturday. So they miss out on Stampone Oval, but they're around at the school.
The school's a pretty good ground, though.
Yeah.
Done a few games there.
They just got to move all their gear out of there and take it around.
There is that.
Yeah. So,
but, look, I mean, last weekend's game was very good. It was a really entertaining game. I was watching that. Both teams were going end to end. So we'd hope same thing will happen again this week.
It just blew out a bit at the end. That's all.
Yeah,
just a little bit at the end. And Julie was good. She passed off that ball. She was trying to the post and she dropped it off to the other girl, and that was her first ever try in the rugby. So hats off to Julie. She tells me it's her last year. She's not
said
playing
that last
anymore.
Year and the year before too, I think.
Yeah, so. I know. I'm pretty sure she said, Wayne, I'm too old now. So, but she's a great lady.
Maybe she'll just move more into the coaching role because I see she's doing that with the women's, but also with their girls.
Yes. And
apparently doing a very good job. She's quite popular. So, look, you have experienced players like that. They get to the stage where they go, perhaps I'll move into another phase. And, coaching, I think, would certainly be great for her to do that a bit more regularly. Perhaps the boys as well.
Yeah, and the Richmond Rain girls get the bye this week.
Ooh, yes. They're good bunch of ladies, all those teams. Lucky to referee them every now and again. And, they have a great time, play some great rugby and just put their whole heart into it. So it's great to see.
Yeah, and the 2 Colts games, the match of the round would definitely be Casuarina and Lismore up at Casuarina.
It's a huge day at Casuarina, isn't it? It was 4 grades. I mean, in that 18s game, that's going to be end-to-end stuff. Both teams, from what I've seen, are very disciplined. So they don't give away a lot of penalties and give the other team territory. You've got to earn it. And I would think they're just going to throw it around and just go for it for the 70 minutes they're out on the field, and it'll just be really good fun to watch.
From the reports I've heard, that might be a 12-a-side game.
Okay.
A lot of kids away, school holidays and rep duties and things like that that's going on at the moment.
Of course.
I believe there's one from either club that I've just had to do all these clearances.
Where are they playing?
There's one from Casuarina and one from Lennox Head, both going down to play for Randwick for the next 2 rounds. They've been asked to go down there and play. So in Colts down there. So Mason Duke second rower or flanker from Casuarina, and Ryan Nielsen, I think he's a prop from Lennox Head. So congratulations. I hope they get good experience out of that.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, it'd be good for them. So, but the amount of clearances you had to do for them, because they both play in the school system. So had to get Connor up at QRU to release them from Queensland schools, and but they both go to Lindisfarne School up there, and release them from there. And I had to release them from
the respective clubs on the Far North Coast.
Far North Coast Seniors, Far North Coast Juniors, and the junior rugby club that we play the championships with. So I had to do 3, and then their clubs had to do 2.
Oh, wow.
So 7 clearances just to get 2 blokes to go down to register for Randwick.
A lot of work, but a great opportunity for them.
Wonderful. Excellent. So that's about it for the...
Probably,
For the
that's the wrap.
Except for yourself.
Do we have to mention that?
Well, you know. But it is a great milestone in your career, Graham.
Oh, look, it's 400 first grade games is... Yeah, it's been an interesting week with getting phone calls and messages and obviously the social media. It's really sort of come home to roost. It was just, wow, like who would have thought all those years ago?
I've seen some of the great comments. There's one there about the CNI dog. You remember what match that was from, Graham?
Yes. There's a little friendly banter going around, that's for sure. It makes it all worthwhile.
Oh yeah,
to
of
be
course.
honest.
But some great remarks.
Oh, it's been great actually. Yeah, it's been really nice.
So I've got a couple of questions here I've been asked to put to you. Okay. In what year did you start refereeing here on the Far North Coast Rugby?
Yeah, well, I moved up back home from Sydney and need something to do. So okay, let's start refereeing. That was way back in 1989. Did a 1 week course and then did an exam the week later and then started refereeing in the comp a week after that. The start of 1989. So it's been, 35 years?
2 years before I got here. And I remember when I came here and I used to go down and only person I knew when I moved from Sydney myself was Richard Mould.
Okay.
And he was playing first grade down at Ballon at the time.
Yep.
And jumped in there, and there was Rowie, yourself, Ralph James, Mick Heffernan, Wayne Nolan. It was good old Mickey Cars.
Yes.
So
we were very fortunate as a zone back then. We had some very good referees from both inside our zone, but then people that had moved here from outside our zone. Perhaps at the time we didn't quite appreciate just how good the refereeing was. And for me, we didn't have the coaching structures that we do now within the refereeing organisation, but just running touch for these people and watching how they went about things. You tried to pick up something from every game and then slowly but surely develop your own game. But had some very, very good referees back in the day.
Yes, I remember I was roped in there at one stage. Someone sort of bent my arm. You should be doing this.
Got you running touch at some stage, and you did a grand final with me at one stage, didn't you?
Went up doing a level 2 and got level 2 AR.
Yes.
Someone said you should be. Ron Mansell rang me up and said you should be blowing in the middle. I said, Ron, I get enough abuse. I get enough abuse doing the job. I don't need it on the games as well. So I said no, I wouldn't do that. But that was a great experience. I remember the grand final, and you remember it as well.
2004
down in Yamba. Yes.
Down in Yamba. Yes.
No, that was the Bede boys from Yamba, I believe. The bloody skites they are.
We did have to stop the game for a golf cart on the field during the grand final in first grade day.
Oh yes, there was a few incidents that day.
It was that was it was a huge day and a huge grand final actually. Still one of my favourite grand finals. That one. It was incredible.
Can you remember what were the 2 teams in your first grade match?
My first grade match was back in 1989 because we were just shorter referees. It was at Lismore, so Lismore was one of the teams, but no, I can't remember who they played. I remember I had to stop the game at one stage, though, because I'm a first-year referee. I really didn't know what I was doing, shouldn't be doing first grade. And I actually called out both captains and said something along the lines of, look, we all know I shouldn't be refereeing first grade, but we've got no choice. So you talk to the boys, we've just got to get through this as best we can. And both teams were really good about it from then on. They went, yeah, look, Cookie's making a lot of mistakes. Some people allege I'm still making lots of mistakes. But we got on with it. I learned from it. We had a chat afterwards and, sort of went from there. Yeah, to do first grade in your first year, it showed how short we were as referees at times.
Yeah.
It sort of went from there.
Something a little bit like now?
Now, look, we aren't managing to cover all our games every weekend in the seniors and nowhere near covering all our matches in our juniors. We're symptomatic of all sports, not just rugby union, and that's just not on the far north coast. Yeah. It's all around the state and all around Australia. Match officials, unfortunately, cop a lot of support from the crowd, shall we say?
Yes. I used to like it. I did offer the flag many times.
It's hard. I mean, why you'd referee at times, I've certainly had moments that haven't been as enjoyable as others. And it's a hard gig to do and to keep doing because you do catch, you cop a lot of flack. That's just the reality.
And the good young fellows that we get through, we can't keep, naturally.
Just like the players. I mean, you look at
James Palmer, Lewis Trisley. Yeah. Now we've got young Lockie Dooley coming through, and I think he's the next brightest young referee by a country mile in the zone at the moment.
I mean, Lachlan is doing very well. We're almost waiting for him to reach that magical age of 16 so we can put him into seniors. He's developed so much in the last 12 months. Getting very regular coaching, of course, because we're trying to develop him, but he's taking it on board and is just improving even from the start of this year.
I think he's 16 this year.
Yes. So
he might be doing a women's game this Saturday. I've seen in the reports. So maybe he has turned 16. But that's great.
No, really, really good. We've got only a small group of junior referees at the moment, but they're all improving. We're trying to encourage the clubs to give us some more junior referees.
Young Tristan Mitchell's going all right.
Tristan's going very well, actually. Yes.
Yeah. They did a country stuff. So
go out of the countries, championships and things like that. It all helps their development.
Yep.
And if we can encourage them, and look, we need some 25 to 35-year-old players that are saying, hey, look, we've had enough. What should we do now? Perhaps consider refereeing. We need you as a referee. You've got some experience in the game. Even if you just do the odd match every now and again, that helps plug the holes for the regular people.
Stephen Spinks came back and did a game last week. That was...
I hear he's been getting quite a bit of support from the clubs that he's been refereeing. So thoroughly enjoying it is one version.
Well, that might take us along to this next question.
Oh, what's the next one?
What do you enjoy most about refereeing the game of rugby?
I'm a Kiwi boy.
Yeah.
So look, you're brought up on rugby and refereeing. I was never a great player, always a skinny kid. So refereeing was one way to get involved and to give something back to the game that you love so much. The camaraderie and the people you meet, some of the great matches you get to referee, it has its tough times, but it's certainly, I've got far more out of it than I've ever put into it. It's incredibly enjoyable in those moments where it just works. You have a game where for some reason you and the two teams are on the same page and the game is flowing, the coaching and support staff are enjoying it, the spectators are just loving it, and you come off the field going, how good was that?
Yeah.
And then, you, as rugby tends to do, you stand around, you have a refreshment together, you go over the goods and bads and just go away from those sort of games going, I'll be back next week.
Yeah.
And they do keep you coming back. And look, I've met a lot of people that are very good friends now. So having been around for a while now, when I go to a ground, you tend to know a lot of people, so it's a lot easier than when I was starting out.
Yeah.
I tend to perhaps a lot more relaxed about it now, which people would suggest has improved my refereeing greatly. So I just go out and enjoy it, which is showing in my refereeing, and so the players are enjoying it more too.
I totally agree with that comment on you. I think you're doing a great job. This one here is a bit of a strange question, but
What do you got for me?
In your time refereeing, has there been many law changes to the game of rugby? Well, I think there's been miles too many. Some for the good and some for the bad.
It's interesting. You look at it's sports like football, and they have a rule book which has hardly changed for hundreds of years. And then you look at a game like rugby union, and we don't change our laws every year, but we review our interpretation of the laws, which means every year, literally every year, you're reviewing what the changes are, taking that feedback back to the clubs, trying to get the clubs and the coaches and the players on the same wavelength as you as the referees. So, you can't pick up a logbook from 2 years ago, let alone 5, 10, 20 or 30 years ago. I've got some of the older ones, and you look at some of the things they had in it and just go, you can't do that now. And if you look at videos of some of the older games, you just, wow, rugby has changed. I mean, a lot of it is for the better. It's a lot safer game than it used to be. It's a lot quicker than it used to be, particularly here on the Far North Coast. We don't tend to have large players, but we have very mobile players. So we tend to play a very fast-paced type of rugby, which is very enjoyable to referee. And the changes that have been made have sped the game up even more. So, as a referee, your speed, your fitness becomes a very, very big issue now compared to when I first started, because it was a lot slower paced. There was a lot more set-piece dominance and kicking for corners. Now it's generally keeping the ball in play and just moving the ball as much as you can. So, it's changed a lot. It changes every year. Keeping up to date is actually a lot of work to try and, in my case, trying to referee first grade still, I have to do a lot of work behind the scenes to still be considered at the level to do first grade, even just on the Far North Coast.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be running it. I could not run the sideline anymore. 100%. All right, we've got one here for you.
What now?
How many grand finals have you refereed? And of them, how many were first grade?
Okay. How many grand finals? Actually, don't know, to be honest. Somewhere between 25 and 30 grand finals. I mean, I know I did 20 in a row at one stage. So, it's 25 to 30, somewhere there. And how many first grade? I don't know, 12, 15 first grade. Funnily enough, it doesn't really matter what grade you get to referee. If you manage to referee a grand final, it's an honour. I've always thought it's a huge honour. It's the players' day. It's your reward for the season you've had. Last year, for example, I did the President's Cup grand final and absolutely loved it. It was just an incredible joy to be out there running around with teams this was their big day. Let's try and give them the best opportunity to play the best they can. Totally different feeling from doing a first grade grand final, but still, huge honour and incredibly enjoyable.
Yeah, but you were part of first grade as well. You had to run touch as well.
Yeah, still, unfortunately, or fortunately for me, I also ran touch in first grade last year for a new referee, our zone, Richard Goswell. And it was a huge day for me, with doing third grade at the start of the day or President's Cup at the start of the day, and then running touch in first grade at the end of the day. But to be out there running touch is still something, I used to do when I was a newer, younger referee, refereeing third grade, under 18s, under 19s as it was then, and then running touch in first grade. Did that for many years, and it is just such fun to watch the play develop, and you can see so much more from the sideline than what you can as a referee. You've got the whole field in front of you, and trying to work as a team that we do now, where we're mic'd up, you're passing information backwards and forwards. It really helps the game flow and for the players to show their skills.
Well, I think we've already. Looking at this next question here, I think we've already covered this, but it says, how do you see the future of our young refs, and are we doing enough to bring them through?
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword in a lot of ways. We need more referees at the older age group to do our seniors, but we also need to be developing junior referees, particularly for our junior competition, which has got a lot of teams, and we simply can't cover them.
Can't.
And we'd prefer not to be using our Saturday referees for juniors on a Friday night in our zone. So we need to develop more. We need to improve our structures and our development within the Referees Association. We need to encourage more referees from the clubs for parents to go, hey, look, I'm bringing my boy or girl along to a match on a Friday night. How about we get them to referee a game before or after our match? And there's no reason why they can't. There's certainly referees that have been doing that for years and playing. It's a great way for them to improve their actual playing skills because they understand the laws and get to understand more about what is happening within a game and read the game better. And the skills happened to go to the state 14s championship out of Dubbo this year. And we were talking to the younger referees we had there that were 15 to 17, most of them. And just the life skills they can get out of becoming a referee and the development that they get from it, the coaching they get, serves them in everything in life, from their school days to their outside school. It's a great way to develop skills that have got nothing to do with you as a referee as such. It's just you as a person and you as an individual. So, yeah, we need to do more. We are trying, and we just need more support from clubs, parents.
So on the final note here, on Saturday will be your 400th first grade game. You must be proud of your achievements to the game of rugby.
Oh, look, a huge thank you to all the clubs first up, I suppose, and over the years where there's been some incredible matches. It's been a lot of fun. All the games are refereed, but obviously first grade is the pinnacle. I'll take a first grade match over any other game anytime. It's the pinnacle of rugby on the far north coast. You're proud. It's amazing. You sort of look back on it now and just, wow, how did that happen? It's I remember going back to that very first game. You're sort of like, wow, nervous as, and being incredibly proud to do one first grade game, but. To have had the opportunity to continue to referee, year in year out, all these years to hit 400 first games is a bit unbelievable, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, very proud. I mean, very thankful for my family, particularly my wife, for the support they've given me. The Referees Association and the coaching and support you receive over the years, you wouldn't be here without it. And frankly, more importantly, the support that you receive from the players and the clubs in sometimes those difficult moments. It's a huge milestone. Yeah, very proud and just very thankful.
Well, from me, I congratulate you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's huge.
I class you as one of my good friends.
We might have a lemonade about it at some
yes,
stage,
we might do.
Yeah.
All right. I think that might finish us up for today. That's the end of the Far North Coast Rugby Wrap for this week. And we'll try to get back next week and fill you in with anything else, if you really wish us to do so.